Hey everyone, this is Michael for Spirit Comics. Welcome to my review of Red Hood and the Outlaws number 8. Now, as I go back through these issues, I'm mentally smacking myself because I didn't realize the first time around just how great they are. I mean, this is some monumental writing. It really is. So, let's get into the review here. This is Red Hood and the Outlaws, number 8. Who is Artemis? The prologue. Now, not exactly sure why they left the area blank, but it doesn't really detract much, because we have Artemis here in the middle. Some sort of, I think that's some deceased goddess or something. And Wonder Woman here on the cover, because she is actually in this issue. But we don't see Bizarro or Red Hood. However, fear not, they are in this issue. And there we see her axe, which she refers to as Mistress. And just everything crumbling around her. It's not her life that's crumbling, but you'll see when we get into the story. And even though they don't have the same artistic team on this, she's still drawn really well in this issue. Who is Artemis? The prologue now. Red Hood and Artemis are in a bar, of all places. I mean, yeah, it would make sense for Red Hood, but Artemis? So, we open up with a scene of the bartender giving almost a riot act to Red Hood. He says, "Read my lips, Red Hood. No one here is impressed with your recent antics. Trying to kill the mayor, taking down the Black Mask, running the Ruskies out of town. You might be number 1 on Gotham's Most Wanted, but when you walk through the doors of this establishment, you're just another customer. So don't come in here asking about a regular like Mr. Stirk, 'cause we take care of our own." And Red Hood says, "I'm not just looking to hire the man. I'm not looking for any trouble." "That would be me," Artemis says. "And what would be you, lady?" Ha ha. Don't ever underestimate Artemis. She says, "I'm the one looking for trouble," and throws some beer right in his face. And there's Red Hood narrating, "That's Artemis. Guess you can say she's my teammate. Inasmuch as as 3 people call themselves teammates, outlaws count as a team. The rest of the world thinks of us as bad people, villains even, which is fine with us." And look at her beautiful face. She is so beautiful. I know she's a fictional character, but she is. "Sister, eh? Aquila! By the goddess, how?" She has that shocked expression on her face. And this is her sister Aquila. She says, "Did you really think death would stop a Shimtar?" And, you know, Luke who has a YouTuber by the name of Luke, has reviewed issue 9 over on his channel, and I will drop a link down in the description box if you want to visit his channel and give him some love too. But Red Hood, I don't think he's convinced this is actually a killer, because he goes whack on top of her head with his gun. Yeah. No one is buying your psionic shape-shifting, Stirk. Ah, you really think I wasn't expecting your shtick? Oh, there's the dude on the floor, and man, is he butt ugly. That's me, Jason Todd, the Red Hood, essentially the leader of the Outlaws. Maybe just don't mention that to Artemis. So, what's the deal, Red? She is so beautiful. Really, she is. Stirk clearly projected an image of someone who rattled you, who has the ability to make you look like a scared teenage girl. And she's a strong woman. Taking her down a peg is no easy task. My goodness, my eyes must be playing tricks on me. 8 issues in now, and looks like they're drawing her with heels. Maybe I'm looking at that wrong. Yeah, it looks like heels to me. She says she doesn't look at him, and she says, "What is that expression you people have?" He says below his breath, "You people, there it is. None of your business." So she sits down at the bar and pours herself some more beer. And Jason says, It is 100% my business now. We're a team, so anything that reduces your effectiveness in the field puts me and Bizarro at risk." And he's really stepping up to the plate here, taking on the leadership role. And Artemis is so funny. She says, "That is surprisingly articulate." "So spill," Jason says. So he starts to, drink his beer and just waits for her to start her tale. And it's several years ago when she was much, much younger. Artemis tells the tale. Her name was Aquila. She was my best friend. When we were young, we would spend all our free time honing our skills, trying to kill each other in the long abandoned arena of... And Jason interrupts. He says, "Wait, you were best friends who tried to kill each other every day?" I just wish I could see the expression on Artemis' face at this moment when she says, "Are you going to do this the entire story?" He says, "Sorry, go on." And there's Artemis and Aquila training, honing their skills, and trying to to bring each other down. You can see that Aquila has a broken bottle in her hand, and says, and she says to Artemis, "Making the most of your environment, Artemis. I'm impressed." And then she has her down on the ground, holding the broken bottle at her throat. "But you're about to be a distant memory. Then I will fight you from my grave, you arrogant, insolent pup." Best of friends, alrighty. So they both rest there, smiling. Well, Achilles smiling. Artemis rarely smiles. And so Achilles laughing. And Artemis says, I don't enjoy when you laugh at me. And Aquila tries to bring her down. Says, then stop taking everything so seriously, sister. Our training is a sacred duty. Fine, which is short for Artemis. They get up, and Achilles says, up for another round, then? I promise not to pummel you too severely, unless you ask nicely. And Artemis says, as appealing as you make that sound, I have my studies. You should be studying too. Thank you. No, unlike you, I'm not interested in currying favor with a pantheon of gods whom have long abandoned us. Please don't talk like that, Aquila. It is disrespectful. To who? To the title of Shimtar. So funny that you still want to grow up to be our champion, our protector. Look around, Aquila says. Wow. What exactly do you think you're going to protect? She's got a good point there. A failed colony of warrior women inconsist behind a mystical sandstorm. That's something you plan to dedicate your life to preserving? Artemis says, Bana Migdal will rise again, Aquila. The Shimtar needs to be ready, and yes, while there is nothing I want more, I know in my heart the gods will choose you, sister, the best among us. I don't want the things you want, R. If I have to do this, I don't want to do it alone. I don't want to do anything without you. For best friends, they seem very, very, very close. Maybe it's just me. But I do like that skyline of their night sky. Beautiful colors, mixing the purple and the orange. So then we're back at the bar, and Jason says, it's nice that you had that. Friends are important. My best friend growing up wasn't much of a talker. And she says, do you want to hear this story, or do you want to pummel me with the details of your lonely childhood? Artemis knows how to put him in his place. And he just goes, nope, nope. And gestures her to continue the story. She says, there came a day when... Wait, hold up. He says, I thought all Amazons lived... Now, this is funny. This is really funny. Scott Lobdell, he played with words here, making it really funny. Jason says, I thought all Amazons lived on Thistle Island or Paradiseville or something. Artemis says, Themyscira, yes. And if any man steps foot on that island, then boom, like they explode all over the place. She says, no one explodes. No. Okay, no boom. So how'd you all come to be like desert Amazons? And Artemis explains, a long time ago, one of my foremothers had a falling out with Queen Hippolyta. She and many of her followers decided to leave. Another pantheon agreed to take us under their protection. Their terms were arduous. The sojourn to Bana Magdal was not without sacrifice. Eventually, we had a home. Whoa, so many things I don't know about you, he says. And then she says, so many things you don't know, period. Oh, she loves just driving the knife further into Jason. I believed, she says, Aquila every time she told me she had no interest in being the Shimtar. Then one day she disappeared without a word. I searched for her weeks until da-da-da-da! Ah! Aquila! I knew that the moment I looked at her, she had changed. 'Cause look at her. Now Aquila looks more beaten up. She had been summoned. I had no idea what they did to her. At least, that is what I told myself. Artemis! Grab! You're here, always. And she embraces Aquila, very intimately, it seems. What happened out there, she asks. I can't tell you. I am duty-bound by the gods. I'm sorry. And that pose right there, the two of them, very suggestive in my opinion. But the story flows really good. It does. And I'm loving it. She became the Shimtar, Jason comments. She did, Artemis says very coldly. Without Aquila by my side, Bana Magdal no longer felt like home. I could not bring myself to stay in a place where I did not belong, where I served no greater purpose. I found a peace in my solitude that I never dared believe possible. During all the years of preparation, until the night it all came crashing down. For as long as the city of Bana Magdal had stood, the hostile nation of Qurak believed me had usurped their sacred homeland. For years they sought to pierce the enchanted sandstorm. And somehow, on this dark night, they made it through. Their soldiers believed they had bested us in an ambush, but they could not have suspected. You should have been here, little sis. It was glorious. Aquila, the bow of Ra? Please tell me you didn't use the bow of Ra. Yes, child. Now, who's that voice? Off to the right. The hostile and so what we do is we turn over here and see Wonder Woman. Yeah, she did. In an effort to serve her people, she nearly killed them all. That will not stand. Of course, I knew her. Diana of Themyscira, their champion. The one the rest of the world knew as Wonder Woman. I had never met her, but I had heard the legends. Let's just say, oh yeah, I wasn't impressed. So, Artemis goes off and starts begins to attack. You are not needed here, Your Majesty. This is a matter of sovereignty. And it's more than that, really. Because look at all the devastation. I mean, then she attacks Wonder Woman head on. Whoop! But that sheer perfection, the walking epitome of everything I had ever dreamed of becoming, but never would, it was almost too much to bear. She says, the world does not agree with you. I've been asked to put a stop to this conflict. It'd be a shame if I had to hurt you in the process. It's so beautiful. I'll be honest, it wasn't my finest moment. Knowing then what I know now, I should have welcomed her with open arms. But yet, she attacks again. Enough! And grabs her hand just the way, that we saw in a few panels back, a few pages back. Even though they might be desert Amazons, I'm guessing the training is, not all that different, see? And over here, the two are actually talking. Wonder Woman says, I only came here because a sister city is in distress. But I discovered your so-called Shumtar had unleashed a burning hell upon the invading forces of Karak. I don't understand. Aquila caused all this? She would never lash out at her people. Beautiful artwork there. Beautiful. Don't you see, Artemis? The only way to preserve everything we stand for, everything we believe in, is by purifying it all in the flame of Ra. Ra was there in the beginning, and he will be here in the end. Aquila, you don't have to do this. That is no longer your friend, Artemis. Whatever she was to you, that is no more. You must choose. Stand with this empty vessel, or stand with me. So what do you think Artemis chooses? Ding! And that's exactly what Jason asked. She says, what do you think happened next? And Jason goes into a long monologue saying, you two took her down. Aquila died fighting because a person with that kind of power doesn't give it up, ever, not on their own. And for no rational reason, you blame yourself even though it wasn't your fault. Essentially, he's projecting himself into the story. And so, here's the flashback again. I'm sorry, Aquila. Don't you dare, I'm sorry I ever listened to them. And then back at the bar, in the present day, the bow of Ra was lost in the conflict. Both Wonder Woman and I thought the gods reclaimed it. But like so many other times in my life, I was wrong. So now you want to go find it. Jason missed a really good opportunity to say, "You admit that you were wrong about something?" But she probably would have beat him up for that. Then she takes her empty glass and bangs it on the table. And says, "Yeah, let's go find it." And so Jason's thinking, funny how many times people like us learn the same lesson over and over. Sometimes it's impossible to tell the difference between a victory and a loss. Do you know how green your eyes are? And she says, "If you are hitting on me, I'll punch you in the head." Just saying. Next, the hunt for the bow of Ra begins. So that was Red Hood and the Outlaws, number 8, Who is Artemis prologue. Now this just introduces us to a whole new story, and it's going to get really good. This issue was entertaining for me. There wasn't a whole lot of action, but Scott Lobdell, he writes so well, I believe. I mean, with each issue he gets better, that there doesn't need to be a whole lot of action when it comes to his penmanship, because he does a really good job. I enjoyed it. I didn't see anything wrong with the pacing. It was steady. And the coloring was good. The coloring was just right for each scene. I really like this issue. If you're not reading Red Hood and the Outlaws now, I recommend that you start. I'm Michael for Spirit Comics. If you enjoyed this review, I ask that you please share it with others and like this video so you can help out the channel, because I really would appreciate that. And if you're not subscribed already, please do go ahead and do so. And also smash that bell like She-Hulk so you'll be notified of all new uploads. Till next time, true readers.